Air travel can already feel stressful, but there are hidden details about the Transportation Security Administration that most passengers never realize. In this video, you'll discover 10 TSA secrets that reveal how officers really operate, what they can and cannot do, and how you can protect yourself and your belongings the next time you fly. Stay until the end so you know exactly how to travel smarter and avoid unpleasant surprises. Subscribe to Epic Voyage for more insider travel guides every week. Chapter 1. Behavioral Profiling You Don't Notice. The first secret is that TSA officers are not just scanning bags or looking at passports. They are constantly studying passengers' behavior using a method called SPOT, or screening of passengers by observation techniques. This program was introduced after the 9/11 attacks to add another layer of security beyond metal detectors and bag scanners. SPOT teaches officers to watch for behaviors linked to deception or nervousness. These cues can include avoiding eye contact, darting glances, rapid blinking, visible sweating, trembling hands, or unnecessary fidgeting. The idea is that someone planning to bring contraband through security might reveal stress in ways that can't be hidden, even if they look calm on the surface. But here's the complication. Millions of passengers every year display the same behaviors for completely innocent reasons. Many travelers are nervous about missing a flight, confused by the fast-moving lines, or simply anxious in crowded spaces. Some people naturally sweat more or have conditions like social anxiety. That means you could be flagged for extra attention even if you are doing nothing wrong. The SPOT program has also been criticized by watchdog groups for its subjectivity. Unlike machines that detect metal or explosives, behavioral profiling depends heavily on human interpretation. A fidgety teenager or a passenger afraid of flying could appear just as suspicious as someone hiding something. Despite the criticism, TSA continues to train officers in these techniques, making this one of the hidden factors influencing how passengers are treated at checkpoints. Chapter 2. The Secret Codes on Your Boarding Pass. A second secret lies in your boarding pass itself. After your identification is checked, officers sometimes make discrete marks or add codes. At first glance, these look meaningless, just scribbles or initials. But in fact, they can serve as communication between officers at different stages of the screening process. The most significant code you might see is SSSS, which stands for Secondary Security Screening Selection. This is dreaded by frequent travelers because it guarantees extra scrutiny. If your boarding pass carries this label, expect a more thorough process. Your bags will be carefully examined, you may be swabbed for explosive residue, and you could face a series of questions about your travel plans. Why does this happen? There are several reasons. Booking a one-way international flight is often a trigger. Purchasing a ticket at the last minute can also attract attention. Sometimes it really is random selection. Whatever the reason, once marked with SSSS, there is no way around it. You must go through the extra screening. The important thing for travelers is to always glance at their boarding pass before entering security. If you see SSSS printed at the top or bottom, mentally prepare for additional steps. This knowledge helps prevent surprise or frustration when you are suddenly pulled aside. Chapter 3. Extra Screening Questions. When selected for additional checks, passengers are often asked a series of simple but pointed questions. Examples include, where are you flying today? What is the purpose of your trip? How long will you be staying? Did you pack your bags yourself? Have your bags been unattended at any point? The purpose of these questions is not to grill you, but to see whether your answers remain consistent and natural. If someone hesitates, contradicts themselves, or reacts nervously, officers may look more closely at their belongings. This is another layer of behavioral profiling in action. What many passengers don't realize is that TSA officers also use internal codes and signals to share information discreetly. These may be official notations or, in some cases, slang developed within the workforce. Several years ago, a private Facebook group of TSA employees revealed that officers sometimes used informal codes to describe passengers in unprofessional ways, commenting on appearance or behavior behind the scenes. While these exchanges were heavily criticized and the group was shut down, the story highlighted something important. Passengers are often discussed without their knowledge, and the notes on a boarding pass may mean much more than they appear. Chapter 4. Theft in the security bins. One of the most vulnerable moments of the airport experience is when you load your items into the grey plastic bins. Shoes, laptops, belts, and jackets go into the scanner while you hurry to keep the line moving. But here's the risk. Items that go into the machine first come out first, meaning they sit unattended on the other side while you are still being screened. This creates the perfect opportunity for theft. A fellow passenger could grab something from the belt, or in more disturbing cases, an officer could take advantage of the chaos. There have been multiple incidents over the years of TSA employees caught stealing. At Miami International Airport, cameras recorded officers distracting passengers while removing cash and valuables from their bags. Theft cases are not unique to Miami. In Newark, New Jersey, a TSA agent admitted to stealing thousands of dollars in electronics and jewelry. At other airports, agents have been prosecuted for stealing from luggage. Although TSA as an organization condemns these actions, the reality is that crowded checkpoints and busy travelers create conditions where theft can happen quickly. Travel experts recommend consolidating valuables. One method is to place your phone, wallet, and passport in a zippered pocket of your jacket. Then send the jacket through the scanner as one item. This way, small valuables are not scattered across multiple bins. Another tip is to wait until the moment you are about to pass through the body scanner before placing high-value items on the belt, minimizing the time they sit unattended. Chapter 5. TSA Liability Limits. If something goes missing during screening, most passengers assume TSA will cover the loss. But the reality is far more complicated. TSA has strict limits on liability. Unless you can prove beyond doubt that an officer directly caused damage or theft, claims are usually denied. This makes recovering compensation extremely difficult. For example, if your laptop disappears after being screened, TSA might argue that another passenger took it. If a watch breaks in a bin, TSA may argue that it was improperly placed. In short, the burden of proof falls almost entirely on the traveler. TSA also has wide authority to confiscate items on the spot. Even if an object technically meets the published guidelines, an officer can still decide it poses a risk. Passengers may protest, but the decision is rarely overturned. This means something as simple as a souvenir lighter, a small pocket knife, or even certain liquids may be taken away permanently. Chapter 6. What happens to confiscated items? The fate of confiscated property is another surprising secret. Most travelers assume these items are simply destroyed. But in reality, thousands of objects are collected each month and redistributed. The Department of Transportation allows TSA to hold items temporarily before sending them to government surplus facilities. From there, confiscated items are sold in bulk to state-run surplus stores or auctioned on websites like govdeals.com. Everyday objects such as scissors, corkscrews, and multi-tools are bundled into lots and sold to buyers who resell them online or in second-hand shops. This practice means your expensive multi-tool or designer lighter might resurface for sale at a fraction of its original value. The idea is that recycling items prevents waste, but it also means the government indirectly profits from confiscated property. For passengers, the lesson is clear. Never pack sentimental or valuable items in carry-on bags unless you are absolutely certain they comply with TSA guidelines. Chapter 7. TSA Authority Is Limited. Despite their visibility and the seriousness of checkpoints, TSA officers actually have less power than many people think. Their primary responsibility is to ensure compliance with security procedures, checking IDs, screening bags, and guiding passengers through machines. They can ask you to empty your pockets or submit to further checks, but their legal authority stops there. Crucially, TSA officers are not law enforcement. They cannot arrest you. If they find illegal substances or items, they must call airport police or federal agents. In other words, TSA's role is detection, not enforcement. TSA also cannot force you to reveal electronic data. They cannot require you to unlock your phone or provide your laptop password. Similarly, they cannot demand that you put your passport into a bin. You are allowed to keep it with you during scans. These details surprise many travelers, who often assume that refusing such requests could lead to penalties. Understanding these boundaries can help passengers remain calm and assert their rights if faced with unreasonable demands. Chapter 8. The Scanners and Your Privacy. Full-body scanners have been a source of controversy since their introduction. The earliest models created detailed images that essentially revealed a passenger's unclothed body to officers monitoring the machines. Privacy advocates raised alarms, arguing that this was both invasive and unnecessary. In response, by 2013, TSA retired these scanners and replaced them with newer models that use automated target recognition software. Instead of producing detailed images, today's scanners generate a generic outline. If the machine detects something unusual, it highlights the area with a box for officers to inspect. While the newer system is less invasive, some passengers still feel uncomfortable. For those individuals, TSA rules allow opting out of the scanner in favor of a manual pat-down. Though potentially awkward, the pat-down is a legitimate alternative that respects personal preference. This option is not widely advertised, but it is an important right every traveler should know. Chapter 9. Your rights during pat-downs. If chosen for a pat-down, passengers have rights that are often not explained in the moment. First, you can request that the procedure be conducted in a private screening room. You also have the right to bring a companion or witness with you. Additionally, you may ask that the officer performing the search be the same gender as you. If you feel uncomfortable with how the search is being conducted, you can request a supervisor to intervene. You also have the right to ask that the officer change gloves before starting the search. These safeguards exist to protect passengers, but TSA officers rarely volunteer this information. Knowing your rights can make a stressful process less intimidating. For travelers who fly often, being prepared to assert these rights can prevent unnecessary discomfort. Chapter 10. The Search of Checked Luggage. Beyond the visible checkpoints, TSA also inspects checked luggage. Every bag loaded onto a commercial aircraft is electronically scanned. If machines detect something suspicious, such as dense objects or flagged materials, officers may manually open the suitcase. Statistics suggest that about 5% of checked bags undergo physical inspection. If your bag has a non-TSA approved lock, agents are allowed to cut it open. If it is wrapped in protective plastic, they can remove the wrapping. After the inspection, they are supposed to place a notice inside explaining that the bag was searched. However, passengers sometimes find their luggage opened without documentation. In rare cases, items go missing. While TSA insists that all inspections are logged using baggage barcodes, lapses can occur. For this reason, experts recommend using TSA-approved locks and packing valuables in carry-on bags whenever possible. Airports can feel overwhelming, but knowing these TSA secrets gives you an edge. From hidden codes on your boarding pass to what really happens with confiscated items, you now understand the unspoken rules of airport security. Travel prepared, protect your belongings, and assert your rights when necessary. Subscribe to Epic Voyage for more essential travel insights and make your next flight smoother, safer, and smarter.